May 1, 2024, News Report 1. On May 1, the Foreign and Defence Ministers of Australia and South Korea held a meeting in Melbourne to discuss South Korea's participation in the second pillar of AUKUS. South Korean Foreign Minister Shin Won-tae expressed that South Korea welcomes being included as a partner in the second pillar of AUKUS. AUKUS is a security partnership consisting of the United States, the United Kingdom, and Australia, established on September 15, 2021. The first pillar, composed of the United States, the United Kingdom, and Australia, aims to provide nuclear-powered submarines to Australia and is not open to new members. The second pillar involves sharing high-tech military technologies, including quantum computing and hypersonic missiles. As a result, many countries have shown interest in the second pillar, including South Korea, Japan, and New Zealand. Currently, South Korea, Japan, and New Zealand are discussing joining the second pillar of AUKUS. If they join, AUKUS will develop into a 3+3 format, including the United Kingdom, the United States, Australia, New Zealand, South Korea, and Japan. This will form a powerful Asian NATO, enhancing its influence in the region. On the other hand, according to NHK News, the defense ministers of Japan, the United States, and Australia will hold a meeting in Hawaii on May 2. The three countries will sign an agreement to jointly develop defense equipment and promote standardization to enhance the interoperability and cooperation efficiency of their defense equipment. Additionally, on May 1, the Australian government announced reforms to its foreign investment system, primarily to tighten scrutiny of foreign investment cases. This measure is considered to be aimed at curbing Chinese investment in critical infrastructure and minerals in Australia. Australia will strengthen its review team to conduct immediate reviews of foreign investment in key areas. Australian Treasurer Josh Frydenberg pointed out that with the current intense geopolitical competition and increased national security threats, the reform will make the foreign investment review system more robust, streamlined, and transparent. News Report 2. According to CCTV News, the Maelong Expressway in Guangdong Province experienced a road collapse at 2 a.m. on May 1. As of 3 p.m., the collapse has resulted in 24 deaths and 30 injuries. The collapse occurred 2 kilometers from the Chaoyang exit in the direction of Fujian, 80 kilometers from the Meizhou urban area, and 100 kilometers from Longyan, Fujian, between Meizhou and Longyan. The collapse area reached 18 meters, forming a huge crater of 184 square meters. At the time of the incident, more than 20 vehicles were traveling on the expressway, instantly losing control and falling into the crater, causing explosions and fires. The scene was chaotic and extremely tragic. This accident occurred on the first day of the May Day holiday, with many vehicles on the road, including private cars returning home or traveling. Some netizens said that their relatives, a family of 5, were driving back from the Maelong Expressway to their hometown and are now unreachable. The Guangdong-Dachao Expressway, which manages the collapsed section, stated on WeChat that the road collapse was due to continuous rainfall. However, some netizens questioned this explanation, saying that how could an expressway be afraid of rain? The Maelong Expressway is 85 kilometers long, with an investment of over 8 billion yuan. The two-phase project was officially opened to traffic in 2013 and 2014. However, since its completion, the Maelong Expressway has been plagued by problems and controversies. Reports have indicated that there were issues such as cutting corners and substandard engineering quality during the construction process. The expressway was damaged less than a year after its completion. On April 1 last year, the Maelong Expressway also experienced a road collapse incident. Some have referred to this latest incident, which resulted in multiple deaths, as a tofu dreg project, and are calling for a thorough investigation. News Report 3. Deutsche Welle reported that a survey released by Reuters and IPSO on May 1 shows that 58% of Americans believe that China is using TikTok to influence public opinion in the United States. The survey was conducted from April 29 to 30 and interviewed 1,022 American adults, excluding minors, with a margin of error of 3 percentage points. The survey results show that 50% of Americans support banning TikTok, 32% oppose it, and 46% believe that China is using TikTok to surveil Americans' daily lives. Additionally, 60% of Americans believe that it is inappropriate for American political candidates to use TikTok for promotion. It is worth noting that President Biden began his campaign on TikTok this year. Last week, Biden signed a bill requiring TikTok to be divested from its Chinese parent company within a year, or it will face a ban. News Report 4. Taiwan's Director General of the National Security Bureau, Tsai Ming-yen, stated at the Legislative Yuan on May 1 that in recent years, the undersea cables connecting Taiwan and Matsu have been cut 20 times, which he considers to be highly abnormal. Tsai Ming-yen pointed out that these undersea cable cuts are likely the work of China. He also noted that there are 14 international undersea cables around Taiwan, with 10 connecting Taiwan and offshore islands, all of which involve external communications and are critical infrastructure for Taiwan. Tsai Ming-yen pointed out that Taiwan currently has many spare undersea cables. If one is cut, they can switch to another, and if all are cut, they may resort to microwave communication. An assessment at the end of last year showed that Matsu's external communication capacity is very sufficient, and there are no plans to develop new undersea cables in the future. Tsai Ing-wen pointed out that after the inauguration of the successor President Lai Hsanda on May 20, China may exert pressure on Taiwan through military exercises, and Taiwan will closely monitor the situation. She emphasized that maintaining peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait is Taiwan's highest strategic goal, and Taiwan hopes that both sides of the strait will strengthen cooperation, show goodwill, and avoid the situation spiraling out of control. On the other hand, Li Liqin, vice chairman of the Mainland Affairs Council, responded on May 1 to China's so-called Taiwan meeting measures announced. After the visit of the Kuomintang to China at the end of April, China announced several so-called Taiwan meeting measures, including opening service areas and national institutions. Li Liqin stated that Taiwan had already announced in September last year that it welcomes Chinese tourists to visit Taiwan, and now as long as the Chinese side submits the documents and allows tourists to exit, they can travel to Matsu. News Report 5. Xinhua News Agency reported that China's third aircraft carrier, the Fujian, conducted its first sea trial on May 1. The report stated that the Fujian left the dock of the Jiangnan shipyard in Shanghai at 8 a.m. that day. The Maritime Safety Administration had previously issued a sailing warning, indicating that the Fujian would conduct sea trials in an area, 3,390 square kilometers, 170 kilometers southwest of the mouth of the Yangtze River. After being launched in June 2022, the Fujian had been docked for mooring experiments and equipment debugging. The Fujian, with the hull number 18 and a full load displacement of 80,000 tons, is China's first domestically designed and built catapult-type aircraft carrier. The Fujian features a flat flight deck with 3 catapult tracks and electromagnetic catapults that can adjust the ejection force, suitable for small drones to large airborne early warning aircraft. It is expected that the Fujian will be officially commissioned into the Navy next year. News Report 6. The Ministry of Natural Resources of China issued a notice on April 30 regarding the supply of residential land in 2024. The notice emphasized that if the turnover cycle of commercial housing exceeds 3 years, 36 months, cities should suspend the supply of residential land. For cities with a turnover cycle of residential land between 1.5 to 3 years, the supply should be determined based on the principle of activation, that is, supply according to the turnover cycle of less than 3 years. The notice emphasized the principle of flexible adjustment. This notice is in response to the meeting of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee on April 30, which called for comprehensive research on measures and policies to digest existing housing stock and optimize incremental housing. Digesting existing housing stock mainly refers to second-hand housing. In the past 2 years, the listing volume of second-hand houses has greatly increased, leading to a decrease in housing prices and impacting the pricing of new houses. This has made it difficult to sell new houses, as developers are unwilling to buy land, resulting in no new real estate projects. Yuan Yaojin, Research Director of eHouse China R&D Institute, stated that the meeting of the Political Bureau means to coordinate the digestion of existing housing inventory while providing demand for new housing. News Report 7. The Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee held a meeting on April 30 to analyze the current economic situation. Xinhua News Agency interviewed the head of the National Development and Reform Commission, NDRC, on May 1. The head of the NDRC stated that the focus is on advancing 3 tasks. Firstly, to promote industrial optimization, which includes comprehensively removing foreign investment restrictions in the manufacturing sector to achieve openness in manufacturing. Secondly, to promote automobile consumption and encourage the use of electric vehicles in rural areas. Thirdly, to accelerate the construction of electric vehicle charging piles. The head of the NDRC pointed out that the current focus of the Chinese government's work is on slogan policies, meaning that slogans are announced, but the actual implementation is not clear. He said that many policies formulated by ministries are just slogans without substantive policy support. This situation is equivalent to expectation management, and the government does not intervene too much in actual implementation. News Report 8. The New Era Weekly of Guangzhou reported that a trend of budget travel has emerged in China, where many people choose to travel to lesser-known, inexpensive small cities. The total cost of the entire trip is usually around 1 to 2,000 yuan. Data from Trip shows that during the May Day holiday, tourism orders for cities below the 4th tier increased by 140%, significantly higher than 1st and 2nd-tier cities. Hotel orders in county-level cities increased by 68% year-on-year, and scenic spot ticket orders increased by 150% year-on-year. Places like Pingtan in Fujian and Yangshuo in Guangxi saw the largest increase in tourists. Post-2000s travelers have increased their travel by 160%. This trend of budget travel indicates that people want to go out and play but are tight on budget. On the other hand, various tourist attractions in China have begun to see crowds of people. Places like Beijing, including Tiananmen Square, the Forbidden City, and Wangfujing, have seen a surge in visitors, with many Beijing residents choosing to travel outside of Beijing by high-speed rail. The Ministry of Transport estimates that during the May Day holiday, the daily travel volume will reach 270 million, exceeding the number of trips during the same period in 2019. The number of tourists entering Hong Kong is also increasing, with 170,000 mainland Chinese tourists entering on the night of May 1. However, due to the high hotel prices in Hong Kong, many tourists choose to book hotels in Shenzhen for accommodation and then travel to Hong Kong to play. Lin Zhiteng, chairman of the Hong Kong Tourism Industry Association, stated that the number of tourists to Hong Kong during the May Day holiday this year has returned to the pre-pandemic level, but the number of tour groups has halved. The length of stay for tour groups in Hong Kong has also been shortened from 4 days and 3 nights to 3 days and 2 nights. This change also indicates that tourists are more concerned about their accommodation choices at night. News Report 9. Deutsche Welle reported that a new immigrant to the United States, Cheng Xiaofan, won a jackpot on April 29, receiving a prize of $422 million. Cheng Xiaofan said that he and his wife, along with a friend, pooled $100 to buy the lottery ticket, so the $422 million prize will be shared by the 3 of them. Cheng Xiaofan is an aircraft mechanic at an airline but has been battling cancer for 8 years. He said that after winning the prize, he will no longer need to work, can support his family, and can find better doctors. Cheng Xiaofan is of Miao descent from Myanmar and immigrated to the United States in 1994. his winning has brought awareness to many Americans about the Miao people. When receiving the award, he was wearing a Miao sleeve ribbon. Miao sleeves are very distinctive and have a unique style in clothing. The Miao people originate from China, and many Miao people fled to Thailand from Laos after the Vietnam War and then resettled in the United States. Currently, there are tens of thousands of Miao people living in Portland, where there is a large Miao community.